Hey guys, welcome back to Makeup Readz. It's your host KB, and we're getting into our second study already. I have a little cold, a little hiccup. So I'm sure you guys heard in the podcast. If you haven't heard the podcast yet, you will hear in this YouTube video that I'm recovering. Okay, I'm recovering, but the show must go on. The show must go on. Couple of announcements before we get started into anything. Just two this time. So first announcement, again, if you want to be mentioned on the podcast during my subscriber shout out session, I need you guys to fill out the form so I can see your responses. If you can't see it, please let me know. But it is in the description box below, as well as in the podcast show notes. Easy link. I think it's like 4 or 5 questions. Fill them out. I'll read them over the podcast. Hear your name, all that good stuff. Number 2, I'm still looking for other makeup looks to study. So if you would like to be a part of Makeup Readz, and not mind me having my analysis on your look and posting it, and doing a podcast on YouTube about it, all that good stuff, email me at makeupfreeze@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram. And while we're talking about all that, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Makeup Readz. Put it right there. On Makeup Readz on Instagram, and of course YouTube. But you're already here, so I'm already assuming that you hit that subscribe button and you joined the family because you're here. So what else would be the point? Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Many of you know that the second study is based on Latrice London's neon yellow look. The reason why I chose this look is because it's really bold, it's really in your face, and the way that she arranges her colors with her bold designs, I just love it. So this was the second study, and we did a very artistic, creative one. So I want to give enough variety so that all of us can pick up from stuff and food each other like. So here is the photo that, if you guys have not seen it already, this is the photo that we're studying today, and this is also the look that I recreated. Y'all, this was harder than I thought it was gonna be, and the colors don't match exactly. Listen, I used what I have, but I wanted to recreate it anyway, even without having her products. People think I have a lot of makeup, but I really don't have a lot of makeup, okay? It's a good amount, but it's not a lot. Me recreating is also me testing alright, can I still make this look with the stuff I got, skills. And for the most part, I did. I'm not overly ecstatic about the recreation of the look, but it definitely helped me break down the look to where I could understand it. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first picture, I start off with the base. In Latrice London's photo, I do not believe her brows are done. I think they're just combed very nicely into place. However, we talked about this last podcast. I don't have no brows. So I lightly put some brown powder into my brows and just kind of flipped my brows into shape, just so there's a little bit more stability for me, because without it, the look would just kind of like float, and I wouldn't have nothing to like stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh. Anyway, I know which one I used today. The base that I used for this look is the Makeup Revolution's Cut Crease Canvas in white. Again, if you didn't see last week's video, it comes with the applicator tip. And how I like to use it is I didn't did it, but whatever. I place it on my eyes. I use a beauty blender to blend it out. I haven't tried my fingers, and I haven't tried a brush. I just really like the way the beauty blender blends it out and makes it even, because if this is not even, let me tell you something, if this is not even, you're gonna mess up your look, you're gonna be upset. It's happened to me multiple times trying to use this. Actually, It happened to me with the MAC Longwear Print, the MAC pot thing. Yeah, that. It happened to me with that. And even after I made it even, whatever. Me and that one has some issues. But if you want the look to be as clean as possible, you want the product to be as even as possible before you start adding your shadows and all of that, right? So this photo is just, I applied the base, I blended it, I did not set it, I just blended it to my skin. So the second photo, I am sketching out the little wave. I personally think my wave could have been a little bit better, but whatever, what have you. This is where the colors are a little off. If you look at Latrice London's picture, it's more green, more teal. And I was looking for those type of colors in my palettes, but I had a blue-green, right? But it wasn't rich enough, it wasn't dark enough for me to have that initial color. So I went more to the blue end of things. But if you're trying to recreate this look completely the way that she did it, you need a teal, a dark, rich teal. And now that I think about it, I think I know what colors I could have used. But it looked so green that I was like, ugh, I don't know if that's gonna work. So I didn't do it. But besides that, I just sketched out the shape with the shadow. I'm still gonna show y'all which shadows I use because why not? If you like it the more blue tint than the green tint, then you could do it that way. You know what I'm saying? But heads up, the colors are not exactly the same. So I used the Nubia 2 by Juvia's Place, and I ended up using the color Cleopatra. It's that blue right there in the middle. So I used that color, and it has some shimmer in it, and her shadows do not have shimmer in them as well. So that was another thing that is a tad different from her look, but I used what I had. Normally how you would do a cut crease. Well, some people like to just pack on the color and then make the shape afterwards. I've been more into creating the shape, kind of, sorta, and then clean it up afterwards. So whichever way that you feel more comfortable with, and if it's you rather just pack on the color, blend it, and then cut it to make your shape, cool girl, do it. But if you like me, likes to go ahead and kind of like carve out that shape, then that's okay too. You can do cut creases in multiple ways. There's not just one way. Okay, let me tell you, there's not just one way. I feel like I look really pretty today, and I like the way I did my face. I like the way I did my hair and my edges, and this purple sweater is just giving me life. It's making me feel better, even though I don't know if my throat sounds better, but it feels so much good. So I packed that color on. There is no blending here in this point, okay? There's no blending. I didn't blend nothing. At this point, I'm just packing the color on so it is strong enough and bold enough, because I want that color to really pop out. The next picture, this is where that, I think I got the blue parts on point. I just don't think I had the teal color on point. But anyway, the color that I used for this one came from the Zulu by Juvia's Place palette. It came from that palette. It does not have a name, but it is this sparkly blue color here. And again, at this point, I am not blending. I'm still not blending. I get that color, I pack it on above the Cleopatra color. I have not blended whatsoever yet. I'm just packing color and placing them where I want to go at this point. Now, in the next photo, this is where the blends comes in. This is where the blend comes in. I do not use, I use two different brushes for the dark blue and for the light baby blue. The brush that I ended up blending with was with the dark blue, okay? You can use a clear brush and blend it that way. However, I have noticed, for at least for me, it's easier for me to blend when I just use one of the colors before that I use to blend up. So after I packed that blue color on, I went back to the brush that I used for the dark blue, and I made circular motions going upward into that light blue color. And that's why here the blue is kind of faded, because if we go back to the previous photo, like here, the blue is very vibrant, and that's why I say do not blend right here. You want to pack, because I promise you, by the time you blend, I guess you see right here, it gets softer, it gets more subtle. Okay, so wait, don't rush your blending. Pack the color on first, get as bold as you want it to be, and then start blending, because eventually you're gonna have to go back in and build it up a little bit more. But why have to do that 6-7 times when you can only do it like 1 or 2 times, because you packed it on so much in the beginning? See what I'm saying? I do not advise wearing makeup and having a code. But if you can be a boss like me and do it, work through it, go ahead. I don't advise it. But if you wanted it a little bit richer, I would advise to, after you blended it in, after you blend those two colors together, to go back in and add some more of that dark blue on there. And actually, I think I did that. I just don't think I took pictures of that. All right, so now we're at the point where we cut our crease and we've also made the shape. Oh, pause. So I didn't set the white above the blue. That was concealer. So you could use white shadow, of course, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was being lazy, and it was in my James Charles palette, and I had like 6 palettes on top of that big palette, and I was like, I'm not getting it, so what else can I do? And honestly, it makes me upset sometimes, but we're not gonna talk about it. That's not what I'm here for in this moment. Anyway, at this point, I cut my crease, and this is a trick I learned off of YouTube. I'm not sure who I learned it by, but I learned it off of YouTube to clean when you cut it, to clean your eyelid and then go back in with that white base. It just helps for your lid not to get so cakey, and for it to have a cleaner look and a cleaner effect at the end of the look. So I like doing that now. So what I used was a Q-tip, and you should use makeup remover, like lotion, no. Use the liquid makeup remover if you're doing this method. You can do it with a wipe, but I like a wipe. Yeah, a wipe or a Q-tip. I don't know any other ways, just a rag, I guess. I like a paper towel would be way too harsh on your eyelid, but that's just me. I don't know. Maybe y'all can deal with that. But anyway, I used a Q-tip. And if you're gonna use a Q-tip, I would suggest using the makeup remover that is in liquid form. However, I didn't do that because I thought that I had it, and then I ended up throwing it out like 4 months ago. I ended up using like some eye stuff that I got from Clinique. That was a sample. It wasn't to remove your makeup, I know that for sure, but that's what I ended up using. Just so it could have something wet on it besides like my saliva or water, to cut the crease. Again, I recommend, if you're using a Q-tip method, the liquid makeup remover, okay? And it's not the cleanest, right? It could have been a lot cleaner, but at this point, I was like, that's good enough for me. So this is where I was talking about I got into things and didn't take no pictures. So you see the yellow color here. That's not what we're focused on right now. I'm gonna come back to that. or focus on this white liner. Well, in the podcast, I mentioned that it looks like the design could either be a double cut crease or a single cut crease. Now, because I don't have any green liner, if I had green liner, I probably would have made it just one cut crease. But I don't have that, so I had to make this a double cut crease. Yay, right? More advanced the better. More advanced the better. I used Makeup Revolution liner, the cut crease canvas, again to cut the crease again. But this is just like when I cut the crease initially, right, when I was cleaning up my space, and then I cut it again, or just like, yeah, we're just going to that. I cut it again by just lining the cut crease canvas underneath that line. As you can see, this is messy AF, okay? It's messy AF. And honestly, I wish that I hadn't have done it this way, because it would have made my life so much easier afterwards, but I did it. So if you are trying the double cut crease way, I would say, again, make sure it's even, because as you can see in this picture, it's not even. There's splotches. That's not gonna help your case. It didn't help my case. Not gonna help your case. So the color I used, it's crazy, because in a podcast I was like, that neon green, that neon green, that neon green, and it looks neon green, like, to me anyway. On the picture, every time I'm looking at it, and I was like, you know, I know some people, like my grandma be like, that's not green, it's blue, and I'm like, that's definitely green. She's like, no, that's blue. And I'm like, all right, you see blue, I see green, it's fine. So that's what I really thought it was, but then I realized, I'm guessing with how the colors are right beside each other, it makes that look green to me. It's really yellow. And the reason I know this is because I was looking for a neon green. I was like, none of these colors are gonna work. So I ended up going into my Anastasia's Beverly Hills Prism palette and using the color Sphere. And that is definitely a yellow. But as you see in the, well, at least to me, in the picture, it looks like it could be a green. So at this point, I'm not really trying to stay within like the carving, because I need to carve it again anyway. I'm packing on the color, and packing on it heavily. Like, you see the fallout on my nose, you see the fallout on my cheeks, not as opaque as it could have been. But what I ended up doing is, after I cut it again and I did the white, I ended up going back in with a smaller brush with that color to make it more opaque. Now you see in this picture how the green is a little bit more opaque? That's what I'm talking about. And I overdid my shape a little bit, because I feel like the blue was so heavy and that S that I didn't have enough room for the white to have that white connected like Latrice London's. I was just gonna leave the white base there, and I was actually gonna leave it wet like that, but it wasn't really responding to that decision. So again, I had a white shadow, but it was underneath like 6 palettes, and I was like not doing it. So what I ended up doing was using Profusion's Festival palette, and I used this like light beige color here to set that shadow. I don't think it liked that very much well either. I don't think it liked it that much either. But child, I had to do what I had to do, so that's what I did. And Latrice London's picture, I can't tell if that's just the lash bed or if she actually had liner on there. I didn't put any lashes on with this look. I have lashes, I just don't have no lash glue, so there was no lashes for me. But I can't tell if that was just a lash bed on her look or she actually did liner. So it's kind of fuzzy, but I ended up using my Clinique liner. Just do a very simple line, very thin at the bottom, because I think that's what she did, but if not, I just kind of wanted to have that look together. So on the bottom of her lash line, we talked about it being a cool undertone. And I wanted to make sure that I was going to have a cool undertone as well. So what I ended up doing, I went back into my Anastasia's Prism palette and I used the color Obsidian first. But I realized it was way too stark, way too harsh, and I didn't want that for the look, and I wanted it to be as soft and cool as it could be. So after I placed Obsidian, I placed Lure, which is this color right here. They're both right here. I placed Lure on top of it and kind of blend it out to give it a more cooler tone underneath. After that point, I went ahead and did my lashes with mascara. I probably should have unclumped them a little bit more. Then the inner corner, the colors for the inner corner and the highlight color that I ended up using because I wanted to complete the look as a whole. I used Lucid, and this is from the same palette. And it looks white on camera, and even in person it looks white, because honestly I was like, can I use this for the white part? But it has a lot of shimmer and has more golden pigments in it. So I used that for the inner corner, but I also used that for my highlight on my cheek. And that was the end of the look for me. It was a little bit of a struggle because again I had to replace some colors for others, and then with the shapes. But I definitely think it helped like breaking down that look. So if I was ever to do a double cut, I honestly pause. This is actually the first time I've done a double cut crease, because even when I did like my glitter liner, I didn't do a double cut crease. I just put the glue there and I put the glitter on top of it. So this is the first time I've ever done a double cut crease, and that's cool. Oh gosh. That's cool, but I think now that I broke it down, I was able to do this double cut crease. It's gonna help me, you know, in the future to know what I'm doing and how to do it better. By all means, it's not perfect, but by all means, it's not terrible either. And we learn, okay? We may not get it the first time, but shoot, we may not even get it the second or the third time. But if you keep practicing, if you keep going, I promise you, you're going to eventually get it. There's no way you can do something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and not get it. That's how habits are formed. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a fun time recording it. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube family, please go ahead and do so. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast or liked me on Instagram, you need to do so as well. All my social media will be in the description box below. Maybe I'll put a little tagline here so you can see it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.